Unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. My dear brothers and sisters, these are the latter days. If you and I are to withstand the forthcoming perils and pressures, it is imperative that we each have a firm spiritual foundation built upon the rock of our Redeemer, Jesus Christ.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. When it comes to prophecy, there's a misconception in the minds of many people that it means that there's nothing we can do. It's already prophesied, which means it's already predetermined, which means we don't do anything. So we just sit back, live our lives the way we want to, and what happens, what happens. It's God's will. And it's crept into Mormonism, that false belief. In Ether, chapter 8, Moroni interrupts the bloody battles of the Jaredites to say this: "Wherefore I, Moroni, am commanded to write these things, that evil may be done away." Notice the use of may. And that the time may come that Satan may have no power upon the hearts of the children of men. That's for the millennial reign of peace. That's prophesied. That the second coming is all about bloody battles, just like here in Ether. And he's saying, he's writing the Book of Mormon that evil may be done away, and that the time, the millennial reign of peace, may come that Satan may, not will, have no power upon the hearts of the children of men, but that they may be persuaded to do good continually, that they may come unto the fountain of all righteousness and be saved. Now, if our lives were predetermined, that the latter days and the millennial reign of peace are all predetermined, that there's nothing we can do about it, we just sit back, go through the motions, and then at the last day say, "Hey, I'm Mormon, I was in the right church, right? Well, let me in. Well, then you have to say, well, why not other good people? See, now other doctrines are creeping into Mormonism because you've believed incorrectly. It doesn't say, wherefore I, Moroni, am commanded to write these things, that evil will be done away, and that the time will come that Satan will have no power upon the hearts of the children of men, that they will be persuaded to do good continually, that they will come unto the fountain of all righteousness and be saved. That, however, is the Des Nat slogan. Dumbasses. Yeah, we're taking people's agency away because it's for their own good. They have to obey commandments, prophet, Deseret Nation, anti-America. And so we, as human beings, despite having the Bible and all the prophecies, and even the precise star dates of when the prophecies are to occur. I mean, people go gaga over Nostradamus, and nobody's going gaga over the Bible, except for evangelicals thinking there's going to actually be dragons. Sorry, but Game of Thrones is all you're going to get. Because you are not believing correctly. And so I've been going over with you since I first learned the star dates of the prophecies from Mormon scripture that tie to the Bible. Been going over with you what Mormons need to do. They need to be good. Trying to persuade you to do good, Mormons. And instead, you do exactly what the enemy does in these stories. And you expect that the millennial reign of peace is just going to come and everything will be fine and you can continue to live as you're living. You see what I'm talking about here? Mormons have to be good. The president of the church has to be good. He's not good by virtue of being in the office. It is Mormon doctrine that God can cease to be God if he doesn't obey the universal law of love. It's in the Book of Mormon. If things do not get fulfilled, are you listening? He ceases to be God. Now there are some prophecies that are a consequence of our actions. So yes, being bad fulfills the bad prophecies. You know, the wars and destructions and the violence and the hearts growing cold and murders, etc. Those prophecies require people to be bad. But they choose to be bad. And it's interesting how people who are self-considering themselves good think that it's okay to be bad in order to bring about the prophecies. That's what evangelicals justified in voting for a horrible, awful beast of a president. Because they think Jesus is coming by voting for him. That all the atrocities are fulfillment of prophecy, and that they have to bring it about. See, now if they had believed in the Book of Mormon had come to that passage in Ether 8:26, they would have gone, oh, so I won't be saved if I bring about the destruction of mankind. So, yeah, because it does not take two to tango. Lucifer is responsible for his actions and choices, not Heavenly Father. Lucifer chose to be the bad guy. And in so being the bad guy, there are certain prophecies of the consequences that will happen from being a bad guy. You'll cause harm and death, and other people will want to defend their lives. And you got chaos and mass hysteria with dogs and cats living together. But you see here, none of what's going on right now is necessary if people would just be good. Now there is another kind of people who say the Christian Christ is a fraud. It was created by Constantine, turned apocalyptic literature into historical documents. So it's not real. And yet the majority of people on the world, around the planet, believe in him and that he's coming. Well, we of science, as evil, Dr. Evil, are well aware that the scriptures are giving us star dates. So why don't we be bad and set things in motion to show that Christianity is a fraud? Because this fake Jesus is never going to come to save them. And we'll just completely and utterly torture them and destroy them, as they themselves will destroy each other, thinking that they're bringing about Jesus, and he never comes. That would be a low evil if such a thing were to occur, wouldn't it? But yeah, there are star dates. And the Joseph Smith translation tells us very clearly that they are in the likeness of things on the earth. So they are symbols for events that are to take place on the earth. And I've been going over that with you. And it's kind of weird, but it's scientific. It's not astrotheology. Crap. It's amazing how people think they're smart when they embrace fallacy. They have no body of proof. Had to get that in somehow. I set it all up for you. Maybe the camera would focus. And so yes, using science, you recognize patterns. You identify anomalies, you develop a theory, and you test the theory. You get multiple confirmations. Ta-da! You've established fact. So today is 4 years since Monson died. That's a fact. Now the question is all the other stuff going to confirm that something else is going to happen today? You've noticed that in my videos I talk about a reverse pattern. These are all bodies of proof. I'm not creating things. The sun, it has healing powers of gratitude when it's at 11:03 a.m. and then it'll project to 11:15. I can't do it. I have to be logical. I have to be sound. I can't do the spiritual witness alone because it leads to death. Do you not understand this? Faith without works is dead. Seed without fruit is dead. Holding the football without running into the end zone gets you tackled. What kind of metaphor do I use so that you understand? You have to be good. You don't wait for somebody else to fix problems in the world. You don't sit back and go, oh, it's God's will that I no longer have money for rent this month. Unless somebody had victimized you. In my case, yes, somebody has victimized me. I've got rent for this month, but not for next month. Unless the property manager surprises me on Monday with, we don't have your rent. What do you mean you don't have my rent? It was given to you. I have an email saying you got my rent. It's February, you won't have my rent. But you can't blame other people for what you yourself should have been doing. But yes, you don't blame others for what others did to them. So like if you think a guy is really cute and you want to get to know him better, and you've got all these ideas in your head of how your eternity is going to be, and then he tells you, oh yeah, I'm in between jobs right now. I'm living in my mom's basement, and I'm yeah. And she goes, well, I guess we'll just be friends. You're blaming him. If it's because we're in a coronavirus, nobody's hiring, everybody's losing employees, and businesses are having problems, supply problems, and so yeah, there's problems. So why would you blame a person who's not responsible for those problems? I saw an episode of Enterprise. I've been watching that lately. And the medical doctor, was wondering if one of the other crew women had a crush on him. She was doing all the human behavioral traits of having a crush on him, but he's an alien species. And so, we have to understand that Star Trek characters should tell us that it's okay to have orgy relationships, because that's what he was involved with. That's what he told her, is that he has 3 wives, and those 3 wives have 3 husbands, and that's how the culture is. And so we have to be tolerant and accepting of that culture when you go to other worlds. Oh my God! The things it's doing to humans on Earth. No, plants are living organisms and we shouldn't eat plants. So we can't eat animals, we can't eat plants. What are we supposed to eat? Nothing. We have to die. It's nature's way. Oh my God! Why are you letting Star Trek do this to you? And you're trying to impose it on me. But yeah, she then says, oh, no, I think you misunderstood. I was just wanting to be friends and see where this goes. And of course, she's gone now. She's no longer seeing where it goes. Oh, dear God. And so, in developing a theory, it's very difficult to predict when it has to do with human behavior. But the signs in the heavens, yeah, I see those in advance. I go, oh, wow, it says in this scripture that this is the star date. There it is, guys. Here it is. It's coming. We're in a tetrad right now. In the middle of a tetrad. We've had the first two already. The next two are this year. I've already shown you. I gave you the dates of when they'll occur. And they will occur. Barring some cataclysmic event that destroys the Earth and knocks it out of its rotation around the Earth, or the Sun. That would be an anomaly. But if things were to continue in the pattern that they are, the prediction will occur. And astronomers back me up on this. So, but the events of things on Earth, it's very difficult. The pattern for December 17th, oh my goodness, it was so intense, so intensive. And then, so I find out, oh, wait, oh, now I get it. September 22nd, then the 5th dark day of Hanukkah, all right there with the Joseph Smith translation and Revelation 12. And so then what follows is today. But I don't know what time. I don't even know if it's going to happen. It should happen. Everything has all been set up. There's nothing after this, because in 2018, Monson dies at 10:01 p.m. So if nothing happens today, it's an anomaly, and I can't explain it until I can figure out some other pattern. We are in the middle of a tetrad. But there's some other factors that say, yeah, that too. But today, something has to happen. And so, the week where my mom died, the 21st of December, she's 77 years old when she died. And I'm going, whoa. Because that led me to remember my dream that I had when I was locked up in the concentration camp of Utah back in 2008. And shortly after my being locked up, do you know what happened? Give you a hint. It was big news worldwide. The economic collapse, as Greece almost bankrupted itself. The whole world was in a free fall. All because I got locked up. I did predict that in my petition for a redress of grievances, for which was called a terrorist act and a weapon of mass destruction, so that they could seal the documents and hide me. But then that led to me recognizing, wait a minute, they locked me up because of January 2nd, 1998. I came to the church and said, Joseph is a translator. See, presidents of the church are required to be translators. The prophets of this church, notice they don't have that title. It's always skipped. Back then, I thought the church was still true. And now I'm starting to see all of this differently. Now I'm going, wow, there is a God who is doing things. Now, I had already previously done the lunar eclipses with each of the Brighamite presidents. And that should scare Mormons. Because the pattern suggests Nelson will likewise die during a lunar eclipse. And this is it. At the end of this tetrad, there won't be another one until 2025. Nelson will be over 100 by then. Yeah. 99? He's 97 now, and so in 2022, he'll be 98, 2023, 99. And so, yeah, he will be 100 in 2025. So does that mean we have to wait till then for him to die? To fit the pattern? Or will it be now, during a tetrad? Remember the last tetrad? Yeah, that was the forerunner for the latter days. 3 apostles die between the 3rd and 4th of the tetrad. It had never happened before. It shocked Mormons. Mormons were going, oh, is this it? Is this the latter days? Prophets came out and said, nope, nothing to see. Move along. And now we know it is. The prophets lied to you. But guess who got freed from his captivity right before the tetrad? And so, like I told you, we're going on, it's now 24 years to the day that the church has been trying to silence me and destroy me, even tried to assassinate me. I still have the evidence, the body of proof. It's an awesome show. But yeah, if today comes and goes, I'm going to be very confused. Because this, Nelson hasn't bothered to restore the damage he's caused me. Just like Monson, he was the one responsible for locking me up. Look what happened to him on the day. And so, who else was involved? Yeah, Uchtdorf and Irene. So that's why my dream came to mind. Because my mom dies when she's 77. There was also room number 88. So I don't know how that fits. But I already know from past experience that I've had prophecy dreams. And I can't explain them scientifically. They just happen. And as a scientist, they're called X-Files because you can't explain them scientifically. But you can see the patterns, You recognize anomalies, you develop a theory, and you test it to make predictions. And it happens. Sort of like the Pythagorean theorem. You can't explain it, but it happens. And so, I have no idea. I mean, obviously, nothing's been reported. Salt Lake Tribune, I noticed, is purposely keeping certain news off of MSN. They're only putting sports stuff on there now. You're gonna get less money. You're ruining your business. Let the world have access to you. You did it with the billionaire. And now you're wanting to hide and retreat and be exclusive material for money payers. Dumbasses. Get advertising to pay you. How hard is that to do? You know, PBS. It's all donations. But anyway. And so, yeah, it is nerve-wracking. My life is on the line. Like I said, I'm destroyed. I lose my phone on Wednesday. Won't have rent for February. Lose my internet this month. I'm a dead man walking. Nobody's choosing to do good. That's why I'm in this position. Nobody's restoring the damage they've caused. That's why I can only foresee my ruin. It requires people to choose to do good to save me. The only other option, if there is nobody who will do good, because he determines when we die, if it's a natural death. He determines earthquakes, tornadoes. Because even though mankind has caused the extremities of our weather right now, a tornado in Georgia earlier this morning, nobody has yet been able to effectively predict the weather. They know that the weather will get extreme, but they don't know specifically when weather events will occur and where they will occur. See, with the heavens, yeah, we're very precise. We know sunset, sunrise. We know precise dates for conjunctions, the moving of the planets through the different constellations. All of that to the second. And they are so precise that they are able to tell us that the Earth is speeding up. Uh-oh. Because there's a thing called escape velocity. If the Earth speeds up too quickly, it will reach escape velocity, and away we go, out into outer space. Now, Mormon theology says, oh, yeah, because we got to go back to Kolob. But do you understand what's required for us to go back to Kolob rather than out of the galaxy? And if it's within the galaxy and we go to the center, there's a lot of obstacles for us to avoid. There's a law of gravity that when we come into a larger celestial body, its gravitational pull may suck us in, and that may be our new sun. Although we'll all be dead. all life on earth will be dead and it'll just be a rock. There are certain laws that cannot be violated by supernatural events. And so, the pattern of my having given the church on the 2nd of January 1998 that Joseph Smith is a translator, and that they had from that moment declared me their enemy rather than embracing me as someone who figured it out and could help the church. Instead, the church allows itself to be ridiculed for translations. So much so that the prophets are so embarrassed and humiliated that they don't even claim translator anymore. Such that you get Nelson getting up there and saying, oh, Hebrew scholars taught me that this white supremacist definition of Israel fits my talk. And he just humiliates himself even worse. All because they didn't want to listen to me. They didn't want to accept that Joseph Smith actually is right. They were too proud to humble themselves as leaders of the church, whose job it was supposed to be, but who've rejected it. And so Monson chose to lock me up like a Benedict for translation, because that was used. That's how I learned what my file number was. And because of that, 10 years later, see, 20 years for Monson to commit the act of no return. 10 years later, he's gone on the day. And so now, 4 years. Not 5. So I'm kind of confused. 20, 10, 5. 5. 5. But 5 doesn't fit the pattern. 4 does. So, we'll see. Because Nelson, you'd think, well, he's not a part of it, Travis. It was Uchtdorf and Eyring. Yeah. I read you the scripture the other day. 3 apostles in 1 month are supposed to bite the big one in the latter days. We haven't had that yet. We're in the middle of a tetrad. It's coming. See, this is God's domain here. When you're talking celestial movements with events on earth, that's God. We can't alter that. We can't say, nope, I want the sun to rise at 3 in the morning tomorrow. Won't work. Unless you're in delusional land or taking some kind of drug. That's God's domain. It is written already. What will happen is already set. But we on earth choose whether we're going to be on the right side of history in the making or the wrong side. Nelson chose to be on the wrong side when he came out in October conference and sent me a death threat. Perils among false brethren. I'm a false brother, huh, Nelson? So that justifies you in doing what you've done to me. Sending me the little notification warning me to back off and be silent. Don't tell the world Joseph Smith is true. That's what you're saying? Yeah, whoops. You've now stepped into a Messer splits. Is that a German word? Uchtdorf, are you listening? Is that a German word? Or is that just something Bugs Bunny said? Or was it Elmer Fudd? Whoever was saying it. So you can't be bad. Consequences follow. And when you're the leader of a church, claiming that God is the one you're leading the church for, and you don't lead the church according to His will, yeah, I've seen the pattern. I've shown it to you. That's the list, the chart. God is pissed with each and every single president of the Brighamite Church. And so, Desmond Tutu? Nope, doesn't fit the pattern. Betty White? Nope, doesn't fit the pattern. Harry Reid? Nope, doesn't fit the pattern. Only a president of the church fits the pattern. The last tetrad, Nelson, was elevated to president of the Quorum of the 12. Now he's the president. That's the pattern. And so we're running the test today. And it's 15 minutes to noon. 13. But we have no body of proof yet. And it's frustrating me. So I hope this helps you understand what's going on right now. Because if something happens today, we have confirmation. The pattern is confirmed. But it means that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, again, is proven to be false. It's already proven to be false. But in this particular case, it's because of what they've done to me. And it's good to know I have somebody up there who's watching out for me, but he's making me kind of nervous today. I mean, and still, if just Nelson goes, Oaks automatically takes over, and we all know he's going to implement Utah as the state of Deseret, and he'll just thumb his nose at Biden. What are you going to do about it? Take us to court? We're seceding from the nation. We are now the state of Deseret, the nation of Deseret. We are Desnat. And we're implementing polygamy. And all the 14-year-old girls old enough to breed, will be my wife. Because I'm the president now. Trust in the Lord. My relative ancestor married his jailbait cousin. We're bringing it back. All things will be restored in the millennium. All nations must give me your kingdom. You don't believe? You don't think he's the one behind Nelson? Okay. Have fun with that. Hope you don't love your kids. Hope you don't love your wife. Because you're going to lose them. AC/DC has a song about that. Lock up your daughter. Lock up your wife. Run for the back door and run for your life. already changed the law of chastity. It's all set in motion. But yeah, I'm curious about the 3 shepherds in 1 month. Because will that mean that Nelson's one of the 3? Or is it Nelson then 3? Because the first 3 were not Nelson. It put Nelson in power for the underboss. And so will Nelson then trigger, and then 3 in 1 month? We first have to settle with today first, before we go on to that. You know, I'm very well aware of Omicron. It's the Greek moon symbol. Huh. During a tetrad it comes out, huh? Huh. Interesting. Lunar tetrad with a lunar name for creeping death. But, so, yeah. And it came to pass that Jared was anointed king over the people by the hand of wickedness, and he gave unto Achish his daughter to wife. And it came to pass that Achish sought the life of his father-in-law. You see that when you have people that desire to be bad, you have people trying to be the top dog, to be the leader, to be the richest, and in order to do that, you've got to commit crime. That's why wickedness is so predictable. Once you establish what it is that a bad person wants, whether it's power or money or both, or you can then predict their behavior and the outcomes that will result. But I mean, Nostradamus, you know, he gave precise dates encoded, so people are confused. They think they know for 2022, but it's all right there in scriptures, and nobody even cares about those. They're all waiting for Jesus. Screw the prophecies. Where's Jesus? Jesus, where are you? I know, I'm gonna go and cause a train wreck or a building explosion. I'll be Mr. Glass to find Jesus. Anybody catch that? M. Night Shyamalan, Mr. Glass from Unbreakable. He purposely caused destruction so that he can find the hero of the story, Bruce Willis. Yippee-ki-yay. Best Christmas movie ever. And with that, we shall end.